I'm in the process of replacing my leather on my seats with the L seat. I've already done the front seats. They turned out great. I am going to start on the back seat. I haven't found anything on how to do this, and so I'm making a video. It seems relatively straightforward. There's a pulled cable. You hit that, and then behind here there's just some brackets that you remove, and it appears that this comes right out. On the back seat it is less. It's less obvious. I imagine you probably have to take those seatbelts off. Let's see, this is the thing to fold this down. It looks like this is a spring that you have to disconnect to come out. Let me see if I can figure that out. And then these just pop out. Okay, these are T20 Torx picks, and there's 2 of them, and I'm just working down my line. I think this is part of the anti-theft system. I'm just gonna cut it off, and then there's 2 more over here, and this should just lift out of here. So this has been totally disconnected. This does not need to be disconnected because it's connected to this bar. And then I disconnect it over there. I've got this seat all the way forward, and we should just be able to pull this out. Crushed it. Okay, the back seat, the back bottom seat is removed. I'm trying to figure out how to get this off. I've got this is the only thing that is connecting it, and I think I need to pry this up and off of that to be able to remove the spring to let that pin come out. There's one on each side. I think if I get either a flathead pry bar on there or a needle nose, I'll be able to pry that off and the seat will come off. I'll try to do that without breaking it. So this was really easy. I just have a pair of needle nose. Grab a hold of that and pull it up and over, and she's loose, and I'm pretty sure that that'll let me remove it and let me take this pin out. So I'm on the other side, and once you get that unclipped, you can just pry it up and it goes loose, and now this is free to come up. I ended up not having to take the seatbelt off, and I think I can just lift up now. Need 2 hands. I'll be right back. I'm making progress. I've got the one pin out, and I found the best way to do it is to get into the trunk with a big long screwdriver, get it up underneath like this, and then pry up while you wiggle the back seat back and forth, and that got it out without breaking that plastic ring that it sits in. And so if we switch to the other side, you get it up underneath there and you start prying up. I'm going to do it with 2 hands though, so that I don't break it. So I pried up on that. The back seat has fallen away. I'm pretty sure I can take it out from the trunk without having to remove the seatbelts and stuff. Yeah, just rotated it. Yeah, you can pull it right out. Excellent. Okay, we're gonna start reupholstering the bottom part of it, and I'm just gonna look it over to see how this thing is put together. Looks like we're gonna have to remove a bunch of staples, and then this looks like a gasket. Yeah. Looks like this just goes down into there, covers up these staples. And it looks like I'm gonna have to remove a bunch of staples. I'm gonna get after that. And I assume once these are off, it just comes right off. We'll see. I got all the staples out. One of the lessons I learned is to be really careful by the edge of this groove for the gasket. I messed up a piece, but it won't affect anything. I used a combination of a staple remover and a needle nose plier pulling straight up, and it seemed to be working pretty good. I've got all this pulled back. There is wire in there's wire in these grooves, and that's what ties off the seat to the cushion. And you'll notice on here it's tied off with this string that goes around the wire, and then it connects to the bottom here. I don't know how to replace that. I might try zip ties to see if it's just as good, but next step is probably to cut that string so that I can take the cover off and start swapping the wire into the new seat. Okay. Off. Foam's in good shape. You can see in the foam where it secures it, those little holes. So there's this piece of fabric here. There's a metal frame that goes through it, and then in this case the way it was secured down was this string. I wasn't expecting that, and I'm not 100% sure on how to replicate it because it's pretty tight to get down in there, but I'll figure it out. But I'm gonna start transferring the metal frame over to the new cover. Things have escalated. Putting those strings on the cover first was a mistake, and now I've removed everything and I'm feeding new string through the frame first, and I think that this is going to be a lot easier, and I'm making the string like 3 times as long to make this as easy as possible. So that's what's happening. Okay, status update. I've run the strings. I've taken everything apart and then I ran the strings in layers. So started with the bottom hooks, ran it through the foam, or the whatever that's called, and then up through the foam. And so now I've got strings through all the holes. And now I'm going to attempt to put the new cover in place, and I'm going to tie off the strings to the metal hooks. And we'll see if I can get that figured out. All right, she's back together. I just tied down the rings, or I tied down the wire to the strings that we did, and then I stapled down the edges, just pulling it taut. Put the gasket back in. I had to cut a little bit of the seam for the unlock to come through like the old one, and then I just wrapped some thread in there to keep this from pulling apart. I don't think I did the best job tying down the wire, but time will tell if it's bad enough to redo it, but I think it's okay. Looks pretty good. On to the upper section. Just looking it over. Looks like we've got these gaskets again. We're gonna have to remove that. I don't know what to do with that. That's the... I have to figure out how to take that off. Pull a bunch of staples. Like that comes off with some bolts. to cut that. Yeah, there's some more. More staples. More staples. All right, we get to work taking this apart. I took all the staples out and got this around this and got this away from there. There's this little clip that secures it right there. And I just figured out how the bottom is attached. There is this hard plastic that clips in to this groove. And I'm using a pick to get it going. And I think you gotta remove the bottom before you can get after the top. And I'm gonna keep on trying it. Okay, got it off. Pretty simple. These little plugs were in the top of it here, and I just used a pry tool to pop it out, and then it was able to come out. Same deal, there's twine holding the frame wires in place, but something new is that there's hog pins holding the frame in place, and I'm gonna have to cut those and get some new hog pins on them in reinstallation. I'm not doing a good job on the strings. I'm gonna try again on here, but I'm not getting them as tight, and I have no clue how they're doing it. So I've got the new cover tied on to the foam, and the key to success there was really long string, and then I did a little bit better slip knots. I ended up putting zip ties instead of the hog pins. It was just easier. And I'm gonna start putting this onto position. It's just, we're gonna have to fold this over and start stapling, and then folding this into the crevice, making sure that there's no major wrinkles and stuff. Next, I've got to reupholster the armrest and the headrests. I'm gonna get back into it. back together. Just takes time and patience. The armrest was pretty self-explanatory. Just pull off the old one, put on the new one. The headrests, pretty self-explanatory. I found the trick to be able to easily put the new one back on is to remove this metal piece and just have the foam piece, and you're able to squish it into the new one, and then you reinsert the metal piece once you've got this on. Everything looks great. I've been at this since about 11 or noon. It's about midnight now, so it's time consuming, and I'll put everything in the car in the morning and I'll let you know how it goes. All right, it's the next day. Everything's put together. I'm gonna start putting it back into the car. Should be relatively simple. She's in, she's all back together. You just have to reattach here and then slip the back section back into there. That was the hardest part. I ended up having to use the wood end of this and smash down on the bottom of it for it to reset, and then put that ring back in place. But I'm pretty pumped about this. It looks a lot better than the 30-year-old interior that was in here before. Thanks for watching. Bye.